began 20 years ago when I came in and I saw dogs on the street, and I didn't know at first that they were stray dogs, and I thought they belonged to somebody. And then when I found them out on the street in the heat for so long, then I realized it didn't belong to anybody. And then I helped the dogs out and picked them up, and I was going to adopt them as my own, but I think that it just began there. It was not adoption. I think I began rescue actually. The real word would be rescue, and that's how I began, to help the dogs. And in the beginning, I had no social media. I didn't have anybody except my husband and my two boys. And somebody came and left a puppy near our door, and that's how we took our CJ, who's with us still right now. And we didn't get any help. And my husband and me, we would cook food in the big utensils, and we would carry it down. My husband would carry one end at 11 o'clock in the night, and we fed over 80 to 90 dogs on the street, and a little bit to the cats, because we were not aware of what food to give the cats at that time. So we used to feed the dogs, all the dogs on the street, every night till 1 o'clock in the morning, come back and get ready to go to work. By that time, we already had 6 dogs, and we were kicked out from our first house because of the dogs. And okay, I understood that people get disturbed, and then began our journey. We went into a villa, and we began to help the dogs, and we had about 40 dogs in the villa with no help. No food help, no veterinary help, but we did our neutering. We did everything that we could. And I would really give credit to my husband Clayton, and my 2 boys Warren and Cruz. I mean, they really stood by me. They would go to school. They don't go to play football like any other normal kid would go to play football in the evening. They would work and look after dogs, feed dogs, clean dogs, give them a bath. All our Thursdays and Fridays, which were off days at that time, they would spend at home, bathing dogs. We'd go to the vet. So all these things we did as a family together. And because I did not know about the outside world and how people could help, and I think slowly it was Fiona who actually came forward. It was Stray Dog Center. Amira and Fiona, who one of our dogs, Tosh Francis, who was in the newspapers, they had helped me with that dog, because I couldn't do anything about it. It was really very expensive, and the Stray Dog Center who came forward and helped us to do that dog. And I think from there on, Petra, the lady who helped me, she and Fiona and Amira, I think they were the ones who helped me to get on social media and get help from people. And the journey began. And then one day, while feeding so many dogs, I knew that there were so many dogs that needed help, and I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't take any more dogs into the villa, and I was even asked to leave. And then I said to myself, I'll take a warehouse and I'm going to do it. And I had 6,000 dirhams with me, but I came here, I took this place, and I was thinking to myself, like, how am I going to do something with 6,000 dirhams? And I remember Fiona and Kea, and Amira, people would help a bit. We'd open out the little envelopes and with whatever 100, and you just put them together, and we began. There was nothing here. There was nothing, just the warehouse. And we put up all the porta cabins, we did all the fencings and everything. I did it slowly. And then, Stray Dog Center has problems of their own with so many dogs, and I really felt guilty that I would be taking their help for everything. So they carried on, and I carried on. And I know that I don't get as much support as I need, but I'll sell my organs to keep the dogs alive. I'll sell everything that I sold everything that I had. I sold everything. I sold my gold that I had. I sold everything that I had to set up the shelter. And if somebody if there's no support, I continued. I never stopped, and I never stopped one day also. I'll continue to help as long as I can. It's very sad because of the dogs on the street. I mean, to look at them daily and see their suffering, it was very difficult for me. It's very difficult for me, and that's the reason I never stopped. And we had many cases of dogs in terrible suffering. So it's this is now my life now. It's not it's not something that I do anymore. It's my lifestyle, because I cannot think of a day where I cannot do this, and I cannot think of a day that there will be an animal suffering on the street and then I do nothing about it. It pains me, but I'll carry on and I'll do as much as I can, and I'm really looking forward to get land of my own, and so that it's theirs and I'm not renting out and not asking, and getting help, and always asking, because I think people also run out of they can give as much as they can give, but too much, it's not that I have to rely on people. So I'm really looking forward to helping the dogs, and getting my own place. Actually, the biggest thing is that I would have is the land of my own. Yes, something that is mine, something that I can buy.
And how much would it be for you to get land of your own?
Yeah, 450,000 at least. We would get a decent place, to buy a decent place, and start building on it. And I feel that it would be better to build, because you can build and it will be permanent. It's not like something that I build here and I've spent so much of money on.
And then you don't have to waste money on rent.
Yes, I don't have to waste money on rent.
Is what, like 120,000 a year?
Yeah, I'm paying 16,000 because I run 3 places at one time. So we have one place and then the place next door, and then there's another place in somewhere else where we look after animals. So it's
and
difficult.
Then what would your last 2 wishes be? So the first wish is that you could get land.
I need to open a veterinary clinic of my own.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing, and I think that.
So expensive.
And my third wish would be, that at least that the generation to come will understand the importance of that animals have life, and that's so important for them to not discard animals, just throw them away, don't because they're fed up of them at home. Just I want to see a new generation, a generation where animals and us and everybody's living together in harmony. That's my wish.
I mean, I'll tell you something that amazes me, Michelle, is that these dogs and these cats, some of them have seen the worst abuse that any animal could see, and yet we walk into this shelter and all they want to do is show you love. I mean, it just shows to me how much you work with these animals, how much you rehabilitate them. You don't just bring them in off the street, you don't just pay their vet bills. You take time with them, you love them, and so that they can love again, and so that they get a second chance.
Yes, I always feel that the thing is that when I pick up a dog, any dog that I pick up, and any dog in the shelter, I feel that I feel that closeness to the dog. I always refer to it as my dogs. My dogs eat this, and my dogs do this, and my dogs do that, and even the people, the boys who work here, Daniel, who's been with me for years, of course he's the greatest help that I've ever had, such an honest boy, very, very, committed to the work that he does, and he loves the animals just like me, and so, for me it's the biggest thing, and he's very good with the dogs, my boys are very good with the dogs, and of course I love my dogs, I don't think there's a single moment that I can live without thinking that there are no dogs, or there are no cats, or there are no donkeys that I can help.
Well, one thing I can say is that I am so unbelievably honoured to, number 1, have met you, number 2, be able to be in a position where we can try and help you as much as we can. I think you are living proof that angels do exist, and honestly, we will do as much as we physically can for you, with donations, with money. We will just keep helping you until we can't go anymore. We will just keep going. And Michelle, thank you so much for
Thank you. I think Lorna's been a legend.
Give me a cuddle.
She's been a legend, and she's...
Oh, I just love you so much. Thank you. Oh God, no, I wasn't going to say.
Because every night we're feeding dogs on the street, and they're without water, without food.
I know.
And sometimes they're sick, but I never leave one dog behind.
I know you
and
don't.
I'm never short of criticism, but I carry on because I know it's for them. And I've not only helped dogs in Fujairah, I have helped dogs in every emirate.
Exactly.
In every emirate, whether cats or dogs.
We'll keep going, yeah?
I'm not a very social media person, and I cannot
we can
be
do
on
that for
camera
you.
and TV. I'm not very good. I'm very shy of all these things. But the only thing that I love doing is you know, being with the dogs, doing my rescue, and that's me. Now,
And then we turn up mithering you. You're like, come on, leave me alone now, get the cameras out my face. No, you're an incredible lady.